Hi, this is Dizzy, and I'm going to talk about a recent serial killer, Cosmo DiNardo. I did make this video already, but it got cut off at like 2 minutes, so I'm going to remake it. DiNardo is a recently active and recently apprehended serial killer in Pennsylvania, and he needs to be discussed. Cosmo killed, apparently, by luring to his farm 4 young men. I find him especially interesting because he is or was only 20 when he was arrested, and that's uncommon. His cousin, or possibly 2 cousins, have also been cast as an accomplice or accomplices, but for now I'm going to focus on Cosmo, but that name reminds me of Fairly Odd Parents, so I'm going to say DiNardo. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I know people in a missing persons group I belong to who were actually concerned about one man who went missing from the area that could have been a 5th victim, but he turned up alive later, thankfully. However, Dean F., 19, Mark S., 22, Tom M., 21, and 19-year-old Jimmy P. were all killed. These are all young men, younger than me. 2 of them teenagers. A lot of people think this was drug deal involved, but people don't really shoot and burn people over weed, which is the primary drug that DiNardo seemed to be involved with. DiNardo and his cousin put the bodies in a large container, or what was described by DiNardo literally as a pig roaster. Disposal methods say a lot about a killer. Some have haunts like Bundy where they revisit the bodies. Some dump the victims on the side of the highway for abandon. And, obviously some of them treat their victims like farm pigs. He's like a white trash Mason Verger. While the motive remains unknown, there are plenty of speculations about why he killed these men, ranging from being owed drug money to deteriorating mental health, the old scapegoat. His social media and the response to his social media posts and to finding out what he did are quite fascinating. To give you an idea, he's the kind of guy who poses with a gun to seem cool. He did pose with a gun, posted it on Facebook to seem cool. After committing homicide one night, he posted, "Best methods to fall asleep, ? At 1:19 a.m., July 6th. Other than awful tasting tea and working out doesn't make me tired, FYI. I've seen pictures of DiNardo and I don't think he's ever tried exercise. One source says that the interview from the few people who have actually been willing to speak up, although they're mostly anonymous, have added up to a picture of an increasingly lonely and isolated young man, one whose life unraveled in the year before that sleepless July night." Isn't it funny how we cast certain people as lonely, troubled, serial killers that were harmed, and then we cast other people as thugs? Anyway, how boring. I've wondered if the reason there are so many people who want to remain anonymous in this situation is because the DiNardo family has some standing. They're very well off. There's been someone come forward and say that DiNardo seemed to unravel after an accident in which he broke his ankle. 2 months after he did, police got a call for help near the DiNardo property for a verbal altercation involving DiNardo and his mother. Later that day, his mother committed him to treatment for schizophrenia, according to court documents. Where and how long he was committed haven't been made public. We don't know how accurate the diagnosis is or whether he was even really treated for it. So then we have an old-time friend that says DiNardo, as he knew him 10 years ago, would never have hurt anyone. And he is mentally unraveled. But police have records of what I have found to be 88 incidences involving the DiNardo family, or calls to the police from their household, and the severity of the incidents involving Cosmo appeared to worsen in the last year. So 88. Also, he creeped on women aggressively and with vulgar language in frequent posts, asking for people to hang out with him and begging for friendship. We all know people like this. More of his posts include things like, "I am a savage, no explanation needed. Need new women to talk to, hit me up." The fact that you have to post, this is something written by a woman in response to what he was proposing. The fact that you have to post statuses about needing new women to talk to is the sad part. Why don't you try and make conversation or get out and meet people, LOL. This is probably a lady who had had too much of his crap. A day later, he posted another plea for women. "Birthday sex, anyone?" he wrote on Facebook twice the day before he turned 20. The next one. "Who wants to go out with me tonight for my birthday?" When no one responded, he replied to his own post. "Any takers?" And later, he wrote a final birthday Facebook post. "Who loves intercourse like me?" Well, how do you know you love it if you've never had it? His efforts to find friends weren't completely in vain. One young woman named Kim said she met DiNardo last year when he posted on Facebook looking for new people to hang out with him. She went out with him a few times, said they didn't have a romantic relationship, and DiNardo would give her rides in exchange for gas money. She said he seemed like a really nice guy at first, and then he started getting creepy. That's how it always goes. This makes me wonder, as someone who studies serial killers all the time, what would the big prolific serial killers have posted on social media? Bundy, Dahmer, Gacy, Son of Sam, all of those. Holmes wouldn't have had a Facebook. Considering how many of them were alcoholics, I bet they would have slipped up faster and gotten caught. But what I wonder more than that is, what are we going to do about people like this? There were red flags all over this Cosmo guy, okay? Most of us know at least one person who acts like this, and we wouldn't be surprised if they went off. I mean, we would be shocked, but we wouldn't be really surprised. Even as we speak, I know several people, one in particular, who acts like this and has even implied he would shoot me for banning him from my Facebook group for being unruly. But if it's not a direct enough threat, like I am going to come to your house at 9 p.m. and murder you, if it's not very specific, it doesn't count as a threat. Cops can't do anything. But that's a larger topic for another time. As far as having a database to report people who are very obviously deranged, but to do so without damaging careers and futures and opportunities just because your enemy reports you on an off day when you look mad. We all have those days. So what do you think of little old Cosmo's serial killings, his motive, and his profile? Hopefully the video works this time, and I'm excited to have a new serial killer to talk about, although it is very unfortunate as well. I am aware of this. Anyway, I hope everyone has a great Halloween, and maybe I'll make a video in my costume. Thank you, and have a good week.